Robert, welcome back to your latest Manchester United news. We'll be talking about Julian Nagelsmann potentially being linked with the managerial move for Manchester United. There's some talks on Tyler Adams, Bruno Fernandes contract update, Alta Bayinda. We talk about Matheus Mane, Kobbie Mainoo, the midfield situation, Mason Mount, and some other interesting things. But let's get into it. So, Julian Nagelsmann has shown his interest in taking a Manchester United job with intermediaries, putting his name forward for the role, while a Bundesliga-based boss is also now firmly in the frame. Ineos are not yet have decided yet whether to hand carry the reins permanently and are continuing to do their due diligence on a range of other options. The prolonged thought process is designed to ensure the United get the decision absolutely right and reach their verdict on intelligence and the long-term good of the club rather than simply following and going with emotions. Listen, what I would say about Nagelsmann, I think he is a top level manager. We know that. He's managed Bayern, Germany, I think Hoffen, I know Leipzig as well, and a few other German clubs. He's a very good modern day manager. I think he's a manager who, again, has a good relationship with Pavel and someone that he apparently pushed for at Chelsea while he was there. I think, as I said, he's a decent manager, don't get me wrong. I think there's a lot of quality there that he has. Concerned to probably be able to adapt to the Premier League. I think United need a serial winner. I think coaching is very, very good. But again, is Nagelsmann the right option? Listen, United will be linked to a lot of managers. That's kind of a standard. I think Nagelsmann is certainly an option to definitely look at in terms of his experience, his quality of football that he's played, and he's someone that definitely would be liked among the fan base. But yeah, he is definitely an option. So that's that. There's not really too much to say at the moment. There's nothing concrete. I just thought that's some news there that's come out. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Bruno Fernandes' new contract. So this is what has been reported. Bruno Fernandes will not demand guarantees on summer signings before deciding his future at United. Co-owner Jim Ratcliffe and senior figures are determined to keep him and are pushing for a contract extension. Manchester United reportedly offered him an improved new deal worth up to £400,000 per week. Listen, Bruno's on, 350, 300? I think we know he's a priority position. If United get Champions League, he is likely to stay at the football club, which does kind of make sense. I think he's one of those players, I've said it and I keep saying it, who deserves to win Champions League football. He's a top level player, a world class player. Yesterday, another assist. That takes him up to 14 assists now in the league this season. He's a ridiculous football player. He's someone who's liked by the fans, put a lot of work in, and for me, he's someone who deserves that contract, and I'd happily keep him at the club for one more season. 400 grand a week, I don't know if United are willing to go that far. He's currently on 350, which makes him up there with one of the highest paid players at the club, up there with Casemiro. I don't know, but again, I'm just happy to have Bruno at the club, to be honest. Now, Matheus Mane is attracting attention from teams including Manchester United, Arsenal, and Newcastle. Wolves head coach Rob Edwards has made it crystal clear that the hierarchy must not cash in on Mane. Now, what I would say about Mane, he's a very good player. I've seen him play quite a few times for Wolves. He's got a lot of talent and a lot of potential. I think if you bring him into United, potentially buy him and then send him back on loan to potentially Wolves in the Championship and keep him for another season for his development will probably be good for him. I think he's someone who, again, is still a raw talent and needs that bit of development. He's looked good. It's his first breakout season. He's played a mixture of games for the first team, under 18 to under 21s, which is good. Is he an essential player? No. I think, is he the sort of profile that we need, potentially, with his versatility? I think if we are going to go out and sign an attacker, it has to be a natural left winger who, sort of Jeremy Doku really, he's kind of the blueprint. I know Semenyo's been played on the right, but Semenyo, I'm trying to think of other wingers in the league. For example, I'm not saying go out and get Hudson-Odoi, but someone who like that on the left wing is a problem. Basically what we have on the right, but just on the left. And I think Mane, he's probably not that option, but definitely as a younger option, I wouldn't mind him. Now, the next thing is, I've obviously talked about Bruno. Tyler Adams. Manchester United will continue to monitor Tyler Adams' situation at Bournemouth following his return. Adam is believed to be valued at £40 million, a cheaper option compared to other targets like Anderson, Wharton and Beliba. And the £40 million is making him cost effective. Now, what I would say about Tyler Adams is, again, decent player. We've had conversations about him before. He's 27. He's got a lot of Premier League experience. He's a decent football player. Again, he's more that cheaper option, which again is good. For United, we have to look at the cheaper options in terms of sort of his contract at Bournemouth. He has a contract for a few years yet, I believe, 2028. Yeah, so he's got a few years left on his current deal. I don't think that would make it difficult or easier to get him out of Bournemouth. I think they've had a rough couple of weeks in the season, or months rather. I think, is he the ideal Casemiro replacement? No, but as a cheaper option, just say you go out and get Wharton or Anderson, and then you get Tyler Adams as a cheaper option. I don't hate it. I think if you have to look at what United have, he's better than Ugarte, if we're being honest. And I think that's the sort of blueprint that I'm looking at to bring in players. But you can let me know your thoughts. I think at 27, he's got a lot of experience, which is good. He's played at Leeds and Bournemouth. So that's not a concern there. He's a decent football player, and again, for £40 million, it's definitely not a bad price. Manchester United rejected Besiktas' offer for Bayern in the January transfer window, as they're keen to keep him as a Sten Lemond's backup for next season. I don't know whether that's because, listen, I'm not really clued in on the goalkeepers, but I know we have like Dermot, Tom Heaton at the club. I think getting rid of Binder could potentially be seen as a risk to United. I would have got rid of him immediately. I just don't think he's a good keeper. And I'd have trust in Heaton and Dermot if they were needed to come into the game. And that's ultimately what I would do personally. I think if you're looking at goalkeepers, we definitely do need one as a backup for Le Mans. I think Heaton's someone we can have around the club. I don't know if he's going to retire or not, but he seems like a very good character. And yeah, I think on the goalkeeper situation, whether that's a 5 mil pre-agreed, 2 mil, 6 mil, whatever it takes to get Bayern out of the club, I definitely look at doing that. The next thing, Kobbie Mainoo new deal. There's still lingering issues between Manchester United's camp and Kobbie Mainoo's camp after he agreed to compromise on his new salary and then didn't hear from United until Amarim was fired. There's now more chance of him staying and signing a new deal if the side can reach an agreement again. Listen, Kobbie Mainoo's contract is something that, they need to just get it done sooner rather than later. Like, I don't know what they're waiting for. He's someone who obviously wants to stay at the club, and United fans want him to stay. Existing deal runs till 2027, with the club holding a further 12 months. I think why he wants a new deal, one, I think it's deserved. I think this is the deal that he signed for, like, when you get your first professional deal, and then he's had a few triggers onto that. I think a wage increase, which is thoroughly deserved. I think he's only getting 20 grand a week, which again, for a player of his quality and what he's achieved, is just that's not fair. And yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense for Mainoo, and I think that's what's deserved, and I think that is the best thing going forward. So yeah, Kobbie Mainoo new deal is close. That's positive. Now, Fulham apparently interested in Mason Mount and are in a 30 mil move. Listen, I think Mount, again, I've talked about it a few times, he would be one of those players I get rid of. Unfortunately, he's not available enough. Quality player, don't get me wrong, but not available enough, and that is a problem. Then with Mason Mount, we need quality, which we know he has, but we just can't guarantee the availability. So ultimately, Fulham, I think, would be a good move. 30 million, again, obviously not a profit, but it's definitely a decent bit of money that United can get and reinvest in the midfield. So yeah, that's that. Carrick said that United will be in the market for a left winger. We know that. I think that's important. We need a left winger. Who the options are? I mean, Diamante's been linked. Is he the sort of perfect option? No. Is he a talented option? Yes. He kind of falls under the similar category to Mane for me. Left winger, who are you going to go out and get? Really, there's not many players. Leao potentially. Semenyo was probably the one that United wanted. Like, I'm sure there'll be a lot of reports about potential left wingers, but I'm trying to think off the top of my head who United going to go out and get, and then what does that mean for Matheus Cunha really? Because Bruno, if he stays, is going to be in at 10, and Bumo's going to be on the right. Sesko's up front. Cunha will play on the left. Is Dorgu that potential? Dorgu, we forgot about him. I think we have missed him recently. Is Dorgu going to be that potential option? We don't know, but I think left winger's priority. I think Dorgu does have that sort of quality to play there, no doubt. Lastly, Manchester United admire Tonali and GUIMARES, and the club would make a move for either player if they become available this season. That's coming out from the Manchester Evening News. What I would say about both of these players is they are quality players. They are two players for me who are top level Premier League experience. I would definitely look at bringing them in. We've been linked to them many times before. They've got quality, they've got experience, they're top of the range midfielders. Yes, they'd cost a lot, but they'd definitely be that worth in investment. You can let me know your thoughts on those two players. Two different players, two good players. Both players, for me, would definitely improve United immediately. Good Casemiro replacements. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on the news.